Hi, and welcome back to Investment Banking University's Front Office Investment Banking Process course. Please go and register at investmentbankingu.com. Today, we're going to be talking about the buyer list process. So we're going to start right out with the table of contents. And just like we do with every presentation, we talk about the high-level front office investment banking process. We're going to go into why buyer list creation, the buyer list process as a whole, which includes database utilization, strategic buyers, financial buyers, and initial outreach. So the front office investment banking process, once again, goes into coverage, mandate target matching, origination, fee structuring and winning the mandate, underwriting, packaging, buyer list creation where we're at now, deal structuring, and the M&A process. So why, in fact, do we actually do and create a buyer list? So after landing the M&A engagement, the investment banker needs to build a buyer list and then begin outreach to the buyer list. In order to build a buyer list, the investment banker uses a database service or their own personal database of financial and strategic buyers with contact information in order to run the M&A process and build a market for control of the business, meaning the sale. After finalizing the buyer list from the database, the investment banker can then begin contacting each prospective buyer in the list. Contact should be the corporate M&A representative for large corporations or CEOs and owners of lower middle market companies or middle market companies. In terms of the buyer list process, we're really talking about database utilization of strategic buyers, financial buyers, and then the actual initial outreach. So in terms of the database utilization, the investment banker has by now built up a database of likely strategic and financial buyers in a given industry. And remember what we've done with the mandate target matching. We pulled the investment mandates of these either corporate M&A departments or financial buyers being private equity groups and really gotten an understanding of who's a likely buyer at what level of EBITDA and revenue for what vertical and sub-verticals and product level, and gotten an understanding of who would be those likely buyers. So those are broken into two broad categories: strategic buyers and financial buyers. With regard to strategic buyers, since the investment banker has in fact been doing the coverage, as we mentioned, on the vertical and sub-vertical, and has the investment mandates of the top players in that industry, he or she is going to have an idea of the most likely top buyers in their industry being larger competitors, suppliers, customers, or related industry. In terms of actual financial buyers, the other category, we are asking the question is the M&A opportunity consistent with the investment mandates? Financial buyers include private equity groups that can make an acquisition in an industry and then grow that business through add-on acquisitions. And that can include your prospective target M&A opportunity. So they're going to be evaluating an acquisition based upon financial criterion like cash flow to get an idea of whether or not it's going to meet their hurdle IRR or their internal rate of return, so they can make a decision as to whether or not to make that investment. And they plan to own a company for 3 to 8 years or 3 to 7 years and then exit to a strategic or financial buyer. And they've done so for financial reasons, and that's why we're calling them financial buyers. So in terms of the initial outreach, when we've gotten our buyer list, we're going to be distributing the teaser that we created in our previous step, which is packaging, and then signing an NDA to get more information. And sometimes the NDA will be signed first, but likely what happens is there can be sort of a blind teaser with not a ton of information, and then they can get another teaser that has additional information that's more proprietary. And then ultimately we're going towards the confidential information and memorandum for those that are serious buyers and more serious about the opportunity. So what we've talked about today is in fact the buyer list process, which fits in the front office investment banking process, which is step 7 there. Next, we're going to be talking about deal structuring in the next presentation. But go ahead and register for the course at investmentbankingu.com for the front office investment banking process. Thanks so much for your time.